And I actually want to talk to you about how I met Cameron, because people that talk to me, in between the classes or after class or in breaks, or people that took the other course that I'm teaching, Building Innovation Capability, semester 2 if someone wants to join. So you know that one of the things that I'm always telling you is don't just sit here in class, don't just be in the campus, but go out and be in a different events and activity and conferences and meeting in the industry. You can't expect that once you'll finish your study, you will just go to the industry and say, yeah, I know no one, I know nothing about what's happening in the real world, so take me. That's not how it works. So in order to make sure that people will know you, you need to start and build your relationships with people. You need to start and build your networking. And I think that here in Brisbane, and I've taught in quite a few different places around the world, and I can tell you that here in Brisbane, there's actually heaps of events. Like every week I can go to at least 2 or 3 events of the industry and meet very interesting people. Some of them are owners or investors or management, and some of them students or people that just regular employees in the companies. But when you know each other, when you start to talk to them, then you understand the ecosystem, you understand the environment that we are working in, you start to understand the opportunities. And maybe you will not get a job out of it. I can't tell you that in any of my meetings someone came and said, do you want to work for me? That's not how it works. But sometimes one meeting will lead to another conversation, to another chat, to another introduction, and this is how things are working in this industry. Okay? It's not just about sending your CV. It's very important, but it's not just about having great CV. It's about knowing the right people and having the right people to introduce you, or that you can ask introduction from them. So it's about being part of the ecosystem. And I don't remember how long it was, like 2 months or so. I went to an event that I really got nothing to do with this, but my partner, my wife, she's doing sustainability. This is Ben's thing, not mine. So she's doing sustainability, and she told me, look, there's a nice event, like a breakfast event, great coffee, interesting people, and heaps of interesting people. One of them was Cameron. I met him only once at this event. I saw that he's talking to my partner, so I thought that if he had a long conversation with her, so he's probably very interesting. So I asked what he's doing, and he told me. And the first thing that I told him after, this is not my area, I'm about innovation, not about sustainability and, doing good for society, that's not my thing. But he told me about what he's doing, and I told him, look, it's very interesting the idea that you took here. So maybe you should come and talk to the students, to tell them about how you took an idea that is not, just another one. Yeah, let's build it, sell it for a lot of money. It's doing something quite different. So I asked them to come, Cameron and Suyan, and we had a few conversations since then, and I must say that they seem to be extremely interesting people. So take a good use of this talk that they will give you. Ask difficult questions, okay? Ask them difficult questions, don't let them just go away. When they will go away, when they will finish, don't just say, okay, yeah, we have some slides to go with Yuri. No, chase them and ask them additional questions. And if you think that there's any potential of collaboration, of introduction, of something that you want, I don't know, to come and see what they are doing, internship, whatever, talk to them. Ask for their LinkedIn, for their emails, talk to people. You will see that this is how the industry works. And then next month, when you will go to an event and you will meet Cameron or Sven, you can say, oh yeah, I know him, you will come to an event, the first event, and some people, and Cameron will look at you and say, oh yeah, I met you at Jonathan's course, yeah. So try to be part of it, and let's try to meet, to give a warm welcome to Cameron and Sriyan and hear about their journey. And after that, difficult questions. Okay, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much, Yuri, for that. I'll just get the slide up. Yeah. Right. Well, thank you so much, Yuri. Thank you so much, Jonathan and Ben and Maria, for having us today. It's wonderful to be here. Make sure it all works. There we go. So, as Yuri said, I'm Cameron Tolmie. I'm the co-founder and CEO of greenbrand.org.
And I'm Soyeon Yoon. I'm a co-founder and I do coding, so I took a position of CTO.
And she did all the work. I just had an idea. So what you're going to see later on, she has done everything. It's more complicated than Facebook, and one person has done it. It's absolutely amazing. So we're going to give a very short presentation here today, which is really hard to do because between the two of us, we've got 5 decades of experience leading up to us forming a company 6 years ago. 6 years of history with the company, lots of iterations and so forth. We've created a rather complex product and we're dealing with rather complex issues. So to condense it down into 20 minutes is going to be a bit hard, but hopefully your questions will tease some of the information out. So I'll give an overview, then Soyeon will talk about her journey, we'll give a quick demonstration, and then we'll do some Q&A afterwards. And just remember, we're a case study of what we did do. We're not professing to be role models on how you should do things. We've certainly done some things which you may be told to do things differently. So I'll talk about me first. So, like all of you, I attended UQ and I graduated in pharmacy back in 1991. And as I look around the room, I am pretty certain that's before most of you were born. And we have interesting clientele because last weekend I was at a Rotary conference where the average age was 70. So it's good to see a different room. So I did pharmacy, 22 years, here, overseas, community, hospital, owned my own small business. And once I sold that, I thought I'd do something different and got into banking. Started off as a teller, did various roles, and in the end, I ran a team that moved hundreds of millions of dollars every day with settlement. So if you sold or bought a house or sold or bought a business, likely my team was looking after that. And Yuri was just touching on this before. In my opinion, there's 2 vital ingredients with doing business and running a business. Business relies on trust. I pay someone to do a job. I hope they do it well. And I trust that they'll do it well. And they trust that I will pay them. And the other thing, building a business, it relies on chance or luck. It's who you know, where you were born, whole confluence of things that can occur. And Yuri touched on both of those. So I'm very aware that if I'd never met Soyeon, none of this would be happening. And I think society is very similar to that as well, trust. And that's probably why we've got some issues in the business environment and in society at the moment. There seems to be a lack of trust with a lot of things that are happening in technology. And as we progress, you'll see how I'm sort of trying to push back against that, or we are. So anyways, I'm building trust. But you might go, Cameron, this isn't a pharmacy chat. This isn't a banking chat. How's that helping us today? Well, about 2 or 3 years ago, I noticed that everyone keeps putting up pictures of themselves when they were kids. So here's young Cameron in Toowoomba, just west of here. I've got a Mr. Men book there. Can't see the title, but I've also got a book about wildlife in your backyard, the spider there. And nature, the environment has always been close to me. When I was at school, I wanted to be a National Parks Ranger. But, get a good score, go to uni. But that hasn't left me. And as I got older, I realised that humans are part of the ecosystem. We're also animals as well. And society, it's all part of nature. And so in my 50 years, I've seen a lot of problems and degradation happen with both our ecosystems and with society. So what I'm talking about is very close to my heart. So I don't really need to go too much in depth. Whenever you're going to be talking to investors or you've got an idea, they're going to ask you, what problem are you solving? We're not solving any of these problems, but we can move the needle a little bit in the right direction. So biodiversity loss, we've lost 70% of our animals since I was born. We know about climate change. I was born when the Apollo missions were going to the moon. Plastics was a new thing, and now plastic is everywhere. Over the years, especially now, inequality and homelessness is becoming an issue in Australia. There's been issues elsewhere around the world, but it's coming here too. So I was seeing, like a place like Brisbane, we've got literally hundreds of volunteer groups and organisations that deal with these complex problems. And I live in Mount Gravatt, near Mount Gravatt, and when I walk out my door, I see invasive vines all over the native vegetation, I see rubbish in the streets. So despite all these organisations and volunteer groups, the problem still remains. In fact, it's getting worse. And to top that off, especially since COVID, formal volunteer rates are dropping. It's harder for people these days to commit to every second Saturday morning of a month to do some work in their local environment. I've got 2 teenage daughters. They played sport. So the idea came to me when I'm walking around my local park seeing all these problems. How do you mobilise the masses of people, get boots on the ground to try and help solve a problem? And then I noticed everyone walks around with their mobile phone. So this is 2018, I think? Yeah, 2018. Everyone walks around with their mobile phone, and the idea thought about, the first iteration was like Adopt a Highway program, but a digital version. Are you familiar with the Adopt a Highway program, where volunteers look after part of the road? And basically, volunteers in Brisbane look after a park. QR code takes you through to their social media profile. Because I also noticed everyone's on their phones with social media. And sadly, it's quite self-centered, combative, big tech, stealing your privacy and data. And then another issue that businesses have these days is their ESG transparency. So environmental, social governance, also umbrella term is sustainability. And we have issues like greenwashing, green hushing. So how does a business showcase what they're doing and prove to their stakeholders and their customers? This is our purpose, and this is central to what we do and why we do what we do. And it's harnessing people power to drive the repair of our world. I'll say a couple of things. We're not saving the planet. The planet has been here for billions of years and will be here for billions more, long after us humans have gone or left. And we're not saving nature either. Nature is incredibly adaptable and it will survive us as well. But what we're trying to do, we're not solving those issues that we had about on the board before, but we're trying to repair what we have done. And that means everyone has to get on board to do that. If everyone did their little bit, if all the organisations and industries did their bit, we'd be moving in the right direction. And I'll just say our world is not just the physical earth, clean water, fresh air, food to eat. Our world can also be our family, our friends, our business. Our world is what we see in the real world. And so that will be different for each and every one of you. So the purpose hopefully means something to all of you, and it'll be individual. I'll just make note that we are a social enterprise. So social enterprise is what, profit for purpose. And so 50% of our profits, when we make some money, because we are pre-revenue at the moment, we're just a startup of basically 2.5 people. But 10% of the subscriptions will be reinvested back into doing good deeds for society and our environment. So our mission was to create digital ecosystems in order to repair the world's environmental and social ecosystems. In fact, we had 2 other platforms in the early days. We had Bush.care, which was that digital highway, Adopt a Highway platform, and then we had a biosecurity platform as well. The way So-Young's created the code, it's like DNA. If you tweak that DNA, you get different functions and different outcomes, so it's really quite flexible. And we're re-engineering social media, and we've built greenbrand.org to be our world's social network. We're thinking big. I can't see why we can't be big if we have a little bit of chance, a little bit of luck along our way. But we have built it to handle millions of people. Billions. When we didn't do an MVP, we decided to go gold standard because my background being pharmacy, risk and banking, didn't want to lose people's money, didn't want to kill people. Risk is high in my list of priorities. So you can think of Green Brand different ways. I like using ethical, like an ethical Facebook. So you can get your dopamine hit by planting trees, picking up rubbish, rather than a picture of yourself on the beach or pictures of your food. Or those who are fitness-minded, you can think of it like Strava for the environment and social issues, where you can record what you do. And these 2 and others are probably the best advertisement, why we should have an alternative to what they provide. So we're sort of the opposite of move fast and break things. We're moving slowly, but carefully, and we're trying to fix things, because most of the things are already broken that we're looking at. So finally, just before I hand over to So-Young, we do have a business model. That's one of the questions we often get. How will you make money? So at the moment, we're looking at an annual subscription. And there'll probably be questions about AI and vibe coding and all this sort of stuff later on. But as I said, we attended a Rotary conference last weekend, and there was quite some interest in that. We've got clubs at university here who are using it. We've got King's College, residential college on site, which is using the platform as well. We're getting some good data. It's our beta testing site. But we've also incorporated points. We've also incorporated stripes, so money can flow through the system as well, to gamify it, to incentivize it. And so, we can take 2% of that, so 95 cents in the dollar flows to the people who are actually doing the work. And then we've also created the ability to have advertisements on the platform. There's none on there at the moment, because I'm very anti-algorithms and so forth. But once you know where your location is, you can use the platform as a portal to find out, is there a cafe or an accountant or a pharmacy who's actually demonstrating what they're doing for the local community. I'm going to hand over to So-Young.
Hello, my name is So-Young Yun. I'm from Korea, in case you're curious about my name. And I'm an architect of greenbrand.org, and I'm also lead developer. So my journey in IT kind of started when I was 18 years old. I was watching television and I saw the advertisements, and I sensed the fakeness in the advertisements. And then I suddenly got an idea: what if the models, actors, they do creative work, they come up with their own slogans and scripts? Then it will be more powerful communication to the audience. So I kind of developed that business model, and I thought, I want to protect it, and so I visited a patent attorney, and he told me only way I can get it patent is to make it into a SaaS. SaaS is a service. It's a software as service, like anything you're using these days, like a Facebook, Instagram, they're all SaaS. Banking app, dating app, so anything you're using as a service is all SaaS. So I was thinking, how can I turn this advertising idea into a SaaS? I was thinking hard, and then I realized all of a sudden I don't need to have an office. I can just collaborate production companies, advertisers, and models online. So let me see. So I entered the software industry with the programming app idea, like advertising platform, and initially collaborated with the programmer. But I quickly realized my progress was dependent on the programmer's problem-solving abilities, and I was not that lucky to have a really good programmer, so I was stuck for a long time. I was frustrated, and I took this matter into my own hands, and I decided to learn programming and tackle and resolve all the issues myself, so I don't have to be stuck for months and paying the wage and paying the rent. So ever since then, I started to do my own programming. So this is a job site. That's the first thing I start building. And then this is a advertising production platform. And then also build shopping cart to sell digital door lock. That's like what? About 15 to 20 years ago. 20 years ago. That's a long time ago. Okay. So I took the patent attorney's advice very seriously, and I decided to move my career from advertising to programming. And now you cannot get the business model patent anymore. So when I met Cameron, he shared his vision that he wanted to create a platform where volunteers and council and business come together at a platform and verify environmental work, and you can create some QR code on the park so they can view who's involved in looking after this part of the land. And so I couldn't help to push this idea into global scale SaaS application, because that was my passion. He was thinking Brisbane wise, but I thought global. And then I'm proud. This is the greatest challenge of our time, sustainability. That's where I thought, okay, I'm gonna be committed to it because it is very urgent and important matter, sustainability. So I knew I could architect his vision into global SaaS. So Green Brand is the result, combining his passion and highest standard of coding with a high level tech. So we built a platform where real impact is recorded and verified and shared. And it is global, as I mentioned. So I just talk about some technical aspect when I was building Green Brand. So I have been a sole programmer on this coding journey, building every layer of this platform myself. So it was before the AI. So Stack Overflow was only referenced and some other like platforms. So I have to find the answers from them when I was stuck. And I have faced the technical hurdles that cost me many sleepless nights. So I had to master GitHub version controlling. I don't know if you're aware. So GitHub is like bridge between the local server and then a production server, and it really helps with the going back to old versions in case something went wrong. So I have to learn all the commands, and that was challenging. And also I have to do a complex deployment to AWS. So AWS is a web hosting, like a platform hosting, like a hosting company, but more for the enterprise level. To connect the local server, GitHub, and AWS production server, you connect it with the two-way encryption keys. So public keys and private keys, you have to put one on your local, one on the GitHub, one on the production server. So it's connected three-way. They communicate from local to GitHub to AWS production server. And then back to the local, from production server to local. Also another challenging issue was Stripe API. So whenever payment is made, you get okay, completed, or failed, or delayed, that kind of a message they Stripe sent you. And depends on the message, you have to synchronize the data or do something with the data. And you do that through custom web hooks. Webhook is like a responding code, depends on what you receive from Stripe. That was very challenging because I manipulated a lot of data after the payment made. Another thing, I have to upgrade ImageMagick, which deals with the processing image, because Cameron asked me that his friends uploading HEIC photos. I never heard of it before. And so only way I could do it was by upgrading the ImageMagick processing kind of library that's directly installed to production server. And then connecting database and S3 bucket for secure image storage. Also interesting as what I learned as I go. So another thing, background infrastructure, running Redis and rescue servers. So those are for the delayed jobs. So if in case the traffic gets so heavy, you need to do it later when there's no traffic. And then to do that, you need to install a rescue server, and you have to run it constantly. And then you use Redis to do the jobs later when there's no traffic. Okay, and then there's a point system I created. So whenever a story is posted, the very complex points system works on the sideway. So the points gets added and or deleted when you create and update the story post. So these are the raw manual challenges of building global SaaS from ground up. I think Okay, so please have a browse and see the digital ecosystem we have built. Have a look at some Green Brain pages.
Thanks, So-Young. All right. Yeah, I think so. I'm incredibly lucky to have one person who does the jobs of like thousands of people overseas. We'll give you a quick demonstration of the platform so you can actually put some visuals to what we've been talking about, and then open it up to questions and answers. So So-Young had to adapt the platform to both laptops, to Androids, to iPhones. So it will look different on your phones. And there's lots of learnings that have gone into this, and there's lots of things that we're still getting feedback on. So if, as Yuri said, if something of interest is, if you see something that is of interest to you, you say, oh, that doesn't look right, or why did you do that? Please have a chat to us. We love getting feedback. So we're a storytelling platform. So we'll go to stories first up. And it's the internet that's slow, not So-Young's coding. So when you write a story, you're dropping a pin on the map. The idea being that if I said I planted 10,000 trees in King George Square, you could go to King George Square and see if I actually planted 10,000 trees. And you might go, well, Cameron, maybe So-Young isn't as good as she says she is because there's one out in the middle of the ocean there. But if I click on that, we can see that this is my mate Lucky, and they're picking up balloons 20 kilometres offshore. So as long as you've got internet, you can record a story. And if I take it to what we were talking about before, global and scalable, we've got stories all around the world. So if I go to this one over here, in Greece, we can see it's my graphics designer who helped with some early work on holiday in Greece, picking up some rubbish along a beach in Greece, and she's dropped the pin on the map. I hear so many guys my age saying, yeah, I'll pick up rubbish on the shore. But in pharmacy and banking, if you didn't document it, it didn't happen. So now you can. So everyone's got their own profile. So here's my profile. I've written 155 stories. So you can see I've volunteered or worked for about 67 odd hours. It's keeping those stats. Those of you who remember the old Facebook, you can have followers, you can have following, you can message people, but you're not getting all those sort of algorithms and curated content and promote it. If I go to my feed, I'm just getting in chronological order other people's stories. And this is quite a nice story from up north from the Rotary Conference. We gave away free trees if they promised to write a story about planting those trees. And this lady, I think Catherine, has gone and planted her tree, and she's, if I click on the story, you can see where she's planted that. We've got a privacy setting as well, so you don't dox yourself. We're very big on privacy. If you put your address in as 8 Plummer Road, Rochdale, it'll only come up as Rochdale. We need, the more accurate you are with the details in there, it gives you more accurate local picture. But it's enshrined in our constitution. We're not on selling any privacy data, and that's one reason why we use AWS, because they're quite good with the security there. And then finally, brand groups. So Facebook started at Harvard. I like to think that Green Brand started at UQ. We've got our first club. There's 220 odd clubs here. They're using the platform to the Climate and Energy Club. And then we've got King's College here, so one of the residential colleges. So if you think of King's College like a business, it could be a coffee shop or a pharmacy, or it could be a multinational company. You can create your own KPIs, your own impact measurements that you want to showcase. So you can see that they've done 74 sessions of bush care, and they've attended 24 sessions for Rotary. So if you like analytics and management, there's 32 different databases in the background, all cross-referencing each other. King's use the points system to see, how did I say this, who's worthy of getting their accommodation choice for next year. So we can see a platform here. Everything's cross-referenced with the points and what categories they've done. And if I just, I know Steffi doesn't mind, you can click, she's got her profile. We can see she's got one follower, following 2 people and written 23 stories. And if I just go back to King's College again, we've got the storyboard. So we can see that they've done some volunteering, sending books and boxes overseas. They attended a Rotary meeting with me, volunteered, someone with cares again, more books, and then they do modified rugby and they do bush care sessions. So you can see at a glance that King's has written, if I go back to the very beginning, they've got 249 members and 663 stories from this year alone. Last year they had 150 members and they wrote 484 stories. We learned from the onboarding procedure, and this year it's much more in use. Look, I don't know how we're going for time, probably talking for a while. So we'll probably wrap it up, but that gives you just a taste. We'll just quickly throw up the QR code here. We've got an exciting future where we try to prove that something's happened on the internet, and that's by using de-identified metadata, marrying it up with the pin on the map, and blockchain. So exciting times ahead. Anyways, thank you.
So, first of all, first of all, thank you very much, Cameron and Sian. It was very interesting and very different from all the other companies that we heard about during the semester. But before I will let you go, I promised some questions. So I will ask you guys if you have any question that you want to ask about either the app itself, the business model, the ID, the profit, where it's going to happen. You prepare revenue now, but hopefully you will get some revenue and profit. So yeah, I'll drop them up. Your one is working?
Testing, yes.
Thank you. First of all, thank you for being here. Great presentation. I think what you guys are doing is very cool, and I love the idea of bringing something like. I loved how you referred to it as this Strava for this type of subjects, because it's not only like ecological and like environment, but like a bunch of other things. I was just looking at some of the posts that people have been doing and they talk about like more social things, forums for different things. So I think it's really cool. And as you said, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys are targeting this globally, right? So it's not only Australia. From as you can tell, I'm not from Australia. I'm from Colombia, and I don't want to say that we don't have environmental awareness, but it's much less than in first world countries, because we have other things to worry about. But I'm just curious if this is a global approach, and you guys are having like a global approach to try to build this community all around the world. How are you guys selling this to everyone else? How are you guys making this attractive to younger people like me, or even older people, to actually have a conscience and find a tool like this, something very beneficial for everyone? As me as a person, and then also as companies in different parts of the world, because I know Australia is very big on ESGs and everything else, but I think there's other companies in different countries of the world that are a little bit less sensitive towards this, especially smaller companies, so like startups or stuff like that. This might not be the first thing that they take into account whenever they're growing their business. So how are you attracting people? How are you bringing people to take part on this like really cool project that I think it's amazing?
Thank you. Really good question. I hear a lot from Sayan, that's why she's smiling at me. Where to start? What we're doing, much to Sayan's frustration, being Korean, go, get out there. We're building traction locally because then we can showcase to others overseas what we're doing here. You're right, there's lots of different attitudes all around the world. And there's lots of attitudes here in Australia as well. I said somewhere in one of my video pieces, I think that we're probably only talking to about 5% of the population at the moment. There's economic pressures, as you said, in different countries there's different sort of pressures as well, but even in a wealthy country like Australia, there's economic pressures and so forth. And ultimately, I reckon the hip pocket always wins. It seems to traditionally have done so. So at the moment we're talking to the 5%, but you know, if 5% of the world's population used it, well, it would be a successful business model. And at the moment, yeah, we've done zero investment in marketing yet because we haven't earned any revenue. So I've bootstrapped the whole process and gave Sayan half the company because I was paying her a pittance. So hopefully she's going to get something out of it at the end as well. But looking at Kings, looking at like levers like Sweat Equity, we're looking at having some internships, social media marketing internship, coding internship, because heaven forbid if Sayan, you know, falls down the stairs or something like that, everything's been created by her. And also an entrepreneur internship as well. So in a month and a half I head off to San Francisco. The largest sustainability conference in North America occurs in June. 4,000 sustainability people there. And what Yuri was talking about, I'm just going to be talking. I haven't got an agenda to sell or to get investment. I'm just going to be talking to lots of people, networking. Because to sell anything these days, you need multiple touches. The world's changed since when I was your ages. Things happen a little bit more quickly. These days, with a lot of misinformation out there seems to be multiple touches. Looks like Sayan has something maybe to add.
Okay. I just want to answer directly. This is not discussed in detail because he's quite busy. And this is what I believe. If you look at King's College in UQ, the students are very diligent at writing a story because they got something to gain, and also college pushed them to. And the pushing is necessary from hierarchy above. And so hopefully, if we get some companies that are powerful like Apple or Google, I'm sure they can push thousands of business underneath them. And even in Colombia, if our marketer can get some powerful company, they can push all the subordinate companies below, and that will increase the user activities and environment. And that's the what I personally I think we have discussed it many times, right? Yeah, but he's saying we're not there yet. So this is what I believe. That is the way to go, like through the marketing. Yeah.
And as I touched on with the flexibility of the software, it's nice to have at the moment, recording what you're doing. But as Sayan said, when something comes from the top and tells you to do something, in Australia, we've got climate reporting coming up, AASB.2 standard reporting. So if you're a company over $50 million of annual revenue, $25 million in assets, or 100 employees, you have to start reporting on the climate and your climate footprint. And so we're looking at, with the stories, you can have as your KPIs 50 litres of diesel. The algorithm says that that's 50 kilograms of carbon dioxide, what have you, methane. You can keep in real time a record of your climate footprint, but using that blockchain that we touched on before, You can, because you're getting a lot of the data off receipts, you can actually keep all that data on the company's database. So we're not storing it, we're not at risk, but you can then verify that something's true and export that to the blockchain so it can't be altered. So, and at the moment it's $700,000 to use IBM and VC, and it's like $1 million for Ernst & Young's public blockchain. But there's a lot of companies out there, big schools, they don't want to pay that money. So there's a market for us to have a look at those must-haves to satisfy legislation.
Thank you. First of all, I want to appreciate about your guys' speech. It's really, attractive for me. So after this class, I will donate my money to UQ, to UQ, your project in UQ. But I have a question. So as you say, I think your main customer is from the big companies, the big school. They have pressure to ESG, and they want to improve their brand reputation, and so that's cool. Just through your brand, just through your website, maybe they can propagate their ideas to protect the environment. But I think you want to have some more small companies to be your customers. So for them, I think the first thing they think about the ROI, rest of investment. So they think, wow, I spend money like $400 a month, and I think, well, which things I can get from your website, from your propaganda. So what's your method to attract them to investment your website to improve their brand reputation, or let them invest in you? Yeah.
Okay. So it's $400 annually. Annually. Yep, that's okay. So, and that was a figure picked out of the air 3 years ago. We're going to have to revisit that. I wanted to make it not a big burden for a small business. So that's probably less than an ad in a newspaper. But we don't want to undervalue our service either. But in this very early stage, we're just a startup, really. We're just looking for users. So the club, to engage Strike, you pay $1 to get on board the platform. So in answer to your question, what's in it for them, for a business? So with the smaller businesses, you're building, hopefully, that customer loyalty. 85% of people say that they want to be sustainable in their choices for products and services. So if you're on the platform being a small business, getting your coffee, so each business can create their own, just click a button and the QR code comes up. While you're waiting for the coffee, while you're waiting for your script, while you're waiting to see the accountant, the person in the business can say, just while you're waiting, if you just tap this QR code, you can see what we're doing for the local community. And that's that local area marketing. I'm not going to make billions from $400 for small businesses, but having worked at NAB, I know that they had a volunteer platform, which is just a fancy spreadsheet, but you couldn't really create much of a vibe with a spreadsheet. So they paid money and that spreadsheet was provided by Benevity, which, when I last checked, was worth about $1 billion on the Canadian Stock Exchange. And then what they would do is they would pay $100,000 to Facebook Workplace to create the vibe. We've got this opportunity to pick up rubbish in St. Lucia, join up. Go to our platform to join up. And then when you look at, and I think it's still true, when you look at any ASX listed company today with their sustainability page or the ESG page, they'll have case studies from 2022 or 23. If you walk into an Officeworks, who's seen that sign out the front that they've planted 1.96 million trees, which hasn't changed for 2 years? With this platform, you know exactly how many trees in real time. So the bigger organisations will be able to showcase to their stakeholders, to government, real-time data. They don't have to extract it off their their spreadsheets, and it's available for everyone to see. Did that answer your question?
Okay, we have time for one short last question.
Hello, thank you for your time and loved seeing this. I'm just curious, because it sounds like you're trying to tackle a wide variety of people. Like, who is your ideal ICP?
So this is why I said we're a case study on what we did, not necessarily the best model. So I think the saying goes that if you target everyone, you succeed selling it to no one, something along those sort of lines. But ultimately we wanted to be a competitor to Facebook. And Facebook is everywhere to everyone. I even asked AI that's a question just for fun. You know, it's all these sort of things. So that's why at the moment we're just doing these niche markets, Rotary clubs, service clubs, residential colleges. But once they get traction, those 5% of people who see that happening go, oh, I could actually make that work for my business, and just organically grow it that way.
So is the hope to start with individual, then go from individual to entity, or?
Both.
Okay.
Both. So we've got a mixture of not-for-profit businesses or at the moment, and there's the platform would have it, 500 odd people on the platform at the moment. So, and when you go to the brand page, you can see there's a memorial group for my father. We planted some trees for him. As I said, Climate and Energy Club, UQ. My friend works for the Koala Rescue, so she's created a club for that, a brand group for that. So we're just getting traction at the moment, just usage, and then we can showcase those to bigger and bigger entities. So,
Okay, thank you so much for the answers and thank you for the great questions. I think that we saw here today very interesting and kind of different company, kind of different venture that tries to do something different, both in how they operate and who are they targeting. Try to ask yourself, who are their customers at the end of the day? And it's not just the small businesses, and it's not just the people that are doing the work. So there's like a few other people that involved here that we need to try and understand it. So we will talk down the track today about business model and about how we can take great and very good, a lot of value you can see here for society, ideas, and to make them into business that can actually make profits. So thank you very much for sharing your journey and about the business. And we want to say thank you and give you a small token of appreciation for coming and doing all this effort. And just before I will let you go, I will also give everyone else like 5-minute break that its only purpose is just for you chasing them. Don't let them go. Ask them questions, make sure that you got their details, LinkedIn, whatever, in order for you to have, at the end of the day, the opportunity to talk to them, to collaborate, to join the app, obviously, and to do things that you find interesting, and also to get some knowledge, some information. Even if you're looking at this venture and you're saying, yeah, I have nothing to do with this, okay, but maybe you can got some ideas about the technology, about the business model, about some other thing. This is what we're trying to learn here, okay? So thank you very much again. Really appreciate your effort coming here. And we are taking 5 minutes just, to get our head out and start to learn something. So 11:05, we are starting. Thank you so much.
Okay, but you can see on the how do you reach it? You guys walk around with names? Do you walk around with name tags like this says your name? So how do you think I can do Well, yeah, we will have a camera save here. So you just want your okay. I mean, you can email it. You can contact us. So I would do that. Can you change your colleagues when you work at I mean,
भाई चेयर ही नहीं तो उधर से ग्रुप ढूंढ रहा होगा 13 ग्रुप हमारी है आओ ना भाई 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 रुको हो गया अब जो अरे तो अभी थोड़ी डिस्कस कर रहे
So what I tell him, we don't have any, we got other professionals who work part-time on marketing. And anytime, and marketing is lacking, and that's the whole thing. And every country needs
ISO 27 has run.
you cannot afford to give them away.
How are you feeling?
What's your name?
Yeah.